Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Zanut here. Today I have a couple of Koolance products that I'm going to be installing in my test bench, and I thought I'd show them to you, unbox them, and then show you how to hook them up and see how they're used. So what I have here is a Koolance INS-FM17 Coolant Flow Meter, and I also have a Koolance Flow Meter Frequency Adapter, an ADT-FM03, and basically what they do is allow you to see your together. They allow you to see the your flow in your system as displayed on your fan controller. So if you have a fan controller that shows RPMs for your fans, this actually allows you to take that information and then convert it to a reading that'll tell you how many liters per minute or gallons per minute your flow is. So let's first take a look at the coolant flow meter. The flow meter itself. In the package, small little package, comes with instruction sheet and the actual flow meter itself. Now, this flow meter has an indicator on it which way the flow should go. I don't know if you can see that, but there's an arrow indicating the flow. So in your loop, you want to put it in that orientation. And in order to do that, what you'll do is you'll put it in line with your one of your tubes, and you have, this is a compression fitting, a bits power compression fitting on one end, and then on the other end, of course, you'll have the same thing. So basically, you're gonna, I'm gonna cut a line in my loop and connect it to either end so that the flow will go through here, and then it'll send this signal down to, and the flow meter is nothing more than the frequency adapter. It will it connects, and I'll connect it up to the particular spot. Actually, it says right here INS FM17. This guy will actually connect right in here. Alright, and you got plenty of lead. So it'll connect here, and then you connect this to your power, and then you'll connect this up to your fan controller, and then it will then provide a signal that converts this into a readable format for your fan controller on your display. And so basically, yeah, it provides a visual and electronic indicator of real-time coolant flow rate. All right, and again, you can see this is this is standard 3G quarter-inch fittings, and it does it in a rate of 1 to 15 liters per minute is what it can read. And then the frequency adapter, this guy right here, like I said, allows it to be read by most fan tachometer headers. You can actually connect it to a motherboard as well. So the flow meter reading, if just straight reading, is intended to allow fan detection software, including your BIOS, to enable appropriate alarm or shutdown procedure if the flow meter impeller stops rotating. Now, I currently use this. There's a version of this flow meter it's not clear. It's solid, and I have that in my Big Bang X-Power 2 system connected up to a Koolance TMS 205 system, and so it actually will allow you to do that. If for some reason the flow stops, it'll automatically send a signal to shut down my system. But this, in its simpler version, just like this, allows you to connect it up inside of to a fan meter, fan controller, and see what your flow rate is. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to put some connect the tubing run, and then connect it up to my test bed, and I'll show you that here in a second and see how it works. Alright, so here's the test bench, and what I want to do is install the flow meter and the frequency adapter in the loop so that I can get the reading on the Master Pro display. And so what I'm going to do here is take a look and see. Here's the reservoir, and then coming out the back, you can see the into the res and out of the res, and the very bottom one is the one that goes out and loops around and plugs into the this part of the radiator, and it comes out of the radiator and goes into the Koolance CPU 370 block, comes out of the block and goes into the Rampage chipset block, and then comes out of the chipset block and then loops back around and then goes back into the reservoir. So what I plan to do is I'm going to connect it into the part of the loop going back to the reservoir, so it's closer to the fan controller and I don't have to have such long cables. Although it'll fit anywhere. I'll try to put it so you can see it, but it's probably just going to go down there and connect it up so all the cabling and everything's out of the way. So that's what's going to happen with the coolant meter and the frequency adapter, and it'll be plugged in to the Master Pro. I'll plug it into channel 4 probably here, so you can see the flow rate as it comes through the frequency adapter. All right. So let's shut off the system. And one thing, if you notice, I have a bunch of coolant quick disconnects, and I do that on my test bench so that I can rearrange it at any time without having to drain the loop at all. So basically everything on here is has a quick disconnect, although the ones on the chipset probably don't have to, but in case I needed to do anything to the motherboard, I did that. Certainly all the ones going to the radiator and to the res need to have it. So anyway, so that's the plan. Let me take it apart and actually I'll show you how easy it is to deal with on camera. All right, turn the system off completely. Now I'm going to take off the one coming out of the block. This is the tube that's going back to the back of the reservoir. So just push down, twist off. No leaks, no drops, no nothing. So that's one half. And then basically it's the same thing. I'm not going to be able to get the camera all the way in, but the bottom port in the back here is the return. And I just disconnected it. And now I have this part of the loop out of the system. And since I'm going to put the flow meter in line with this tube, yes, there is coolant in this, so I'm going to have to, that'll get drained out when I cut the tube. Or I could put a male fitting on here and put it in and it'll drain out. But I'll cut the tube, and this is the only part of the loop. I will have to add some more coolant to the reservoir, but the loop will be back up and running in 5 minutes. All right, let me cut it, put the fittings on it, and install the flow meter. For those of you who haven't seen my other video on using Koolance quick disconnects, instead of just cutting the tube and draining it out, I'll show you how I use this the Koolance quick disconnects to also drain. If you have this whole tube connected in your system, all you would need to do is get one end of it, the lowest point, and you're going to plug in, this is the mating end that goes into the same type I have in the reservoir and the radiators. This is the mating piece to the one that has that's part of the compression setup. So you can also have one of these that has a compression at the other end to join in line, but this is it's got a G1/4 threaded port on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one on here and twist it in. So now it's made the connection, and now when I put it through this way, I've got the coolant coming through. Now if I put one at the other end of this, of course I'll have air and it'll bleed out a lot faster, but right now it's coming out. And I'm just lifting the other end of the this tubing up high. So, all right. So now she is empty. I'll take the fitting back out. All right. And now I have a tube that's empty so that I can cut and put the flow meter on. Doesn't matter, it's exactly the same. I'm just going to cut it right here. All right. And now I'm going to put my fittings on. And these are your standard Bits Power silver shining compression fittings. And these are 1/2 inch by 3/4 fittings. I love Bits Power fittings. Probably I use them in almost all my builds. They are high quality. Not had any issues. I'm putting some coolant on the inside the tubing so that I can slide this on easily. And so that's the only reason why you see me doing that. All right. All right. Now we have the tubing all set to go. Now I'm going to install the flow meter. I'm going to disconnect it from the frequency adapter for right now. All right, and now its key is to find the orientation of the arrow showing the flow. So that's right here, and it's coming this way. Now this end is going to be connected to the reservoir going into it. So I'm going to put it that way. So the flow is going to come out of the loop and going back into the res. So it doesn't really matter where you put it in the system, but I'm going to put it there so it's close to the reservoir and the fan controller, so I don't have a long run of cable back there. I already have a mess, but it's underneath the test bench, so nobody's going to see that except for when I get and maintain it. And now I'm connecting up the other end. All right. So now I have the flow meter, and this says QC passed. I'm just going to leave it on there in case there's any problems with it. I can return it and see that it wasn't tampered with, other than the way it was installed properly. Okay, so I have it now connected up, and in my loop line here, I'm going to go ahead and install this back into the system, and then we'll connect this up to the back up to the meter and into the fan controller, and then you get to see this guy in action. Now I'm connecting it back to the out of the chipset block, so it's connected right there. And now I'm going to get down here and install it into the to the back of the reservoir. And I don't know if you can, I don't think you can see it. And you can see that both of the fittings, the out is at the top and the in is at the bottom. That's the one I just connected. And then you see the flow meter right there. All right. And I will get some light on it later when it's running, so you can see it. All right, so we have the flow meter in there. Now I'm going to connect up the frequency adapter. The other thing I'm going to do while I have the system down for a bit is I'm going to install a temperature sensor. This is from Aquatuning. And basically what you do is you put, it's got standard G and a quarter threads, so I'm going to put that out the on the exit of the radiator right here, and then the temperature flowing through this point will feed back, and this also will read the temperature on the fan controller as well. So that way I'll have flow rate on this test bench, and I'll also be able to see the temperature of the coolant in the test bench as well. So just another point of reference and information to set up in the test bed. So if I need to test anything else or do some reviews, I'll be able to use this information in the review, hopefully. So I'm going to take the radiator off the mount and lay it down because it's filled with coolant, and then just take off the take off the quick disconnect that's installed here and put this underneath it. So the quick disconnect will connect into here, and this will be inside of the radiator. And it also comes with an O-ring, which I'll need to use. So, and then this will run to the, this end will run right to the fan controller and give me a temp. So I'll do that. I'll show you that in a second. And just to show you how, again, how easy it is to deal with this test setup using the quick disconnect, since I have water coolant on it, I'm going to go ahead and take this off. That's one. Two. So they're off. Now all I got to do is undo the screw that holds this radiator on here. There we go. All right, I have it on the bench now real quick, and now I have it laid down so no coolant should come oozing out of the radiator. You'll see. So the bottom one is my inlet to the rad. That way it forces any air up and out. I've got a wrench with some protective tape on there. All right, just needed a little bit of assistance. Okay, I have the fitting off. Now what I'm doing is putting the O-ring on the adapter, and I'm putting the adapter now on. And this adapter, again, is really, it's a temperature sensor. It's not really an adapter. It's a temperature sensor from Aqauero, and allows you to get your temp. So I'm just getting it a little tight without damaging it, because I have the protective pliers. Okay, and now I'm putting my quick disconnect back on there. Make sure the other one's on nice and tight. Now, you know, you don't want to really use pliers. You want to get them on really strong hand tight, but since my fingers are raw from putting those Bits Power fittings on. All right, so I have the I have them on here, and now I'm going to install the rad back on top of it. All right, I've got it mounted. I've got the temperature sensor. I'm going to feed it down so it can make it up to the controller. So here it's come all the way through. It's going to mount in the back of that and connect up the tubing. So we have this is the out. So connect it up. So the out is connected going into the CPU block, and then the one returning, the one feeding the system is right here, and we got it all set. All right, I have the frequency adapter here now. I'm going to install it and connect it up to the flow meter. Here's the flow meter installed back here. There's power that's required for this guy, so I have my power connections back here. I'm going to go ahead and connect up the power. It's a 12-volt power that it needs, and it's connected here to the right here on the meter. It's got its own connector, and then there's a switch on here that shows off, sync, and on, but it's for the FM16, and the FM16 is a different flow meter, and that is got a different connector. Here's the FM17, and there's also a switch on here for the type of tubing that you're going to use. So 10 millimeter or 13 millimeter, and I have 13 millimeter. That's the diameter, the tubing for 1/2 inch by 3/4, and you can also have it for 6 millimeter. Now the switch is, it's either or. It's either on the smaller diameter tubing or the top two, 10 millimeter or 13. So the switch is already set for that. And all right, so I don't think it matters for that switch, but we'll check it out. And the other end of this is going to go into the fan controller. But before I do that, let me connect up the coolant lead. Okay, here's the back of the fan controller. And you see there's connection points for 6 fans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now 4 has a lead coming off of it, and actually goes to this extender. So I have an extender right here, and it's fan 4, so that's connected up to fan 4 in the back of the controller, so that I have some more play when I'm pulling the reservoir chassis in and out. I'm going to plug the frequency adapter into fan 4. So here we have it, and it's connected up, so that is going to the point in the back of the fan controller. And then the other thing I wanted to install is the temperature sensor that I just installed, and that's going to go over to, you'll see there's also temperature sensors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have only one temperature sensor connected right now, and that is the one hanging out of the front of the test bench to tell me what the ambient temperature of the room is. And this one I'm going to connect to 4, so that we'll be seeing the reading under 4 of the temp and also the flow. So okay, I have the flow meter connected to fan 4, and then I also have the temperature sensor coming out of the radiator going into temperature sensor number 4. So now I'm going to push all this stuff back, and then we'll see if we can get some readings. Let's turn the system on. Make sure we don't spring any leaks. And it will be a little loud because I have to get some more coolant in there for the little bit that came out of the hose. So right now you're hearing some of that. So on the left, 24.2 is the ambient temperature in the room, and 25.9, that's the coolant temp. And I don't see any reading on 4 yet, so there's no indicator. I'm going to have to check the power connection. Okay, the power connector that I plugged it into wasn't seated all the way, so that was the issue. And so now we have the power to the flow meter through the frequency adapter, and you can see that they painted a white mark on the blade in there on that impeller. So as it spins, you'll see there's a clear indication that there is flow. And then that sync light, the LED light flashing, whether it's that switch there for INS-16 is on or off, it doesn't matter. So I guess that's just showing that that it is getting a signal and passing it through. So that's nice to know that there's some indicator on there that shows you that the thing is powered up and it's working. So there's the flow meter and the frequency adapter. And now I'm going to turn it around, the test bench around, so you can see the readings. So now you can see we're set on the reading on the left where it says the 1. That top one is the indicator of the fan speed and the fans on the radiator. And then the bottom one, 24.1, that's the degrees in the room. That's the ambient temperature by that sensor that you see right there. And now on the right where it says channel 4, we have 1260. Now that says RPMs, but this frequency meter saying that is 1260 liters per minute. And the temperature from the temperature coolant temperature sensor that I added to the radiator shows that the coolant temp currently is 26.5 degrees C. So that is it in operation. The reading there of the approximately 1200 RPMs is actually milliliters per minute, not liters per minute. So that's 1200 milliliters per minute, or 1.2 liters per minute. And that converts to approximately 0.32 gallons per minute. So again, the reading that the frequency adapter puts out is in milliliters per minute. So we have, so we've got, looks like it's hovering right around 1200 milliliters per minute, or 1.2 liters per minute, which is approximately 0.32 gallons per minute. All right. So there you have it. You see you saw the flow meter impeller spinning and feeding the frequency adapter, and that adapter is giving us this reading here on our fan controller in milliliters per minute. And then the other probe that I put in, I added that temperature probe right down, way down there on the output of the radiator, and that is giving us the coolant temperature of 26.6 degrees. And then to the left, 24.7 is the 24.0 now is the ambient temperature of the room. So it's about 2.5 degrees, 2.6 degrees difference from what the coolant is. So that's it from Ron Zanut on the INS-FM17 coolant flow meter and the ADT-FM03 Koolance flow meter frequency adapter. That's how you install it and how you would connect them up to be able to measure your flow rate using any standard fan controller. And then a side piece that you got to see was also adding an Aquatuning coolant temperature sensor that actually screws into any radiator or reservoir or anything with a G Aqauero fitting, and it gives you the temp of your coolant. So that's it from Ron Zanut. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like and favorite, and if you're so inclined, please subscribe. And that's it for Ron Zanut. Thanks.